there is going to be a major change in the Dasha of India. Yes, that's right, the astrological time period that India has been going through, the Moon Mahadasha is coming to an end, which has been running for the past 10 years, and right now India is going to go into its Mars Dasha for the next 7 years starting September this year. So that is naturally going to bring a major big change in the way things are happening in the country, because whenever Mahadasha changes, there are naturally big things which change completely. The energy which is permeating every single thing which is happening in the country is going to change. The Antardasha naturally brings different kinds of results, and the transits of the planets in the sky currently are also going to affect, but the Mahadasha is the one which sets the tone of that long time period, which is in this right now going to be in the Mars Dasha, going to be for 7 years long. Now the effect of that starts showing up already a few months before. When the Dasha is about to change, you can already start feeling the Dasha which is about to come, and we are entering into Mars Mahadasha. Now what does Mars Mahadasha mean? Mars is an army man, is a fighter. Mars means blood, means war, means assertiveness also. Being strong about your opinions, being determined. And in the chart of India, Mars is sitting in the second house of finances, the second house of speech. So first things first, India is going to be very vocal. India is going to, the government or the representatives of the country are going to be very vocal, and not just vocal, because it is Mars energy. They are going to be very forthright, and they were going to be very powerful in their way of communication. People are going to hear them out. People are actually going to listen to what India has to say now. Now the other thing which is represented by the second house is finances. So the Indian finances is going to be very much in discussion. There are going to be both challenges and some good events happening, because the planet Mars, which is sitting in the second house of finances, so definitely finances is going to be a big topic. But the same Mars, which is sitting in the house of finances, is ruling the 12th house of losses. But the 12th house also represents, along with losses, represents foreign countries, foreign nations. So what my understanding in this situation is that there are definitely going to be certain expenses, and mind you, because it is Mars, a lot of the expenses are going to be on the military, right, or on fighting terrorism, because Mars represents this fighting, right? So in order to curb any sort of danger towards the country, or in order to strengthen the army, there are going to be expenses, because 12th house of losses, the expenditure, right? So money is going to be spent on that. Now along with that, it also does represent foreign nations. So I am expecting that there would be financial gains because of export, right? So Indian foreign trade will be better, and India is going to make good amount of financial gains because of that foreign dealings, because of dealing with foreign countries. Now what else is going to happen? Mars is aspecting the 8th house, right? Sitting in the second house, it's aspecting the 8th house of sudden events. There are going to be sudden events. There would be sudden outbursts in all different ways, and I would say that there would be some religious rebellions or religious movements as well, because in the 9th house, which Mars is aspecting, is a sign of Sagittarius, which represents spirituality, which represents religions, right, and following of dharma. So there would be fights for religious purposes and for establishing proper dharma. There is no longer going to be, and as we have seen in the past couple of months and years, the Hindus and the Sanatanis in India are becoming very vocal. They are coming up So this period which we have been going through right now, Moon Dasha, which was going on and is finishing in September right now, that was in the 3rd house of courage. So we are gaining courage, right? Everybody is becoming more courageous. However, right now it's going to peak because Mars is no longer, it's not gaining courage, it is courage. There is force and courage, determination and intensity. There is full on intensity. So this Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter means these kind of spiritual upsurges. So that is going to happen. It's going to be sudden. Even we have started feeling the effect of the Mars, right? With this Pahalgam attack and how India retaliated, and Operation Sindoor, you know, that is already sudden things happening, right? And very mysteriously happening, right? Because it's also the 8th house. And it has already started. The effect of the upcoming Mars Dasha is already showing. So we can be definitely sure that there are going to be conflicts, there are going to be warlike situations in the country as well because of this Mars energy. But I would say that it is pretty strong. And even though there will be conflicts, and mind you, there is going to be loss of life as well, because 8th house does represent death. So lives will be lost for higher causes, for higher purposes. And what is also important is that Mars is aspecting, through its 8th aspect, is aspecting the 9th house of, again, spirituality, right? And in that 9th house is the sign of Capricorn, which is the exaltation sign of Mars. So Mars is aspecting its sign of exaltation in the 10th house of, 9th house of spirituality, religiosity and law. So certain laws will be put in place. For example, the UCC is most likely going to happen, right? Where proper law is going to be established. And ultimately all religious groups will be benefited. And the nation is going to be very assertive about their policies, about their way of moving ahead, that they'll be very vocal, they'll be very assertive. At the same time, Mars is also ruling the 7th house of relations and partnerships, right? So there are going to be, relationships are going to be affected actually with other countries. Most likely it is going to be affected not in the most positive way. Reason being because it's a sign of Scorpio, and past things might be brought up. People might or nations might bring up things which have happened in the past, and keeping those as a basis, they're going to put allegations on the country or point fingers. So it might not be the best time for the relationships, but India is going to stay strong. India is definitely going to stay strong. It's a time period of strength. The price will have to be paid, that is for sure, but it is a time of strength and it is going to be a pretty powerful time. Let's all gear up for it. And the other thing which is going to help is that everybody should actually increase their spiritual strength, because like I said, Mars is aspecting the 9th house of spirituality, right? So the nation as a total is going to be more spiritual, is going to be more determined about preserving their culture. So let us all be strong in our spiritual lives, and let us stand strong with the nation during this upcoming Mars Dasha. So this is my analysis of what is going to come. Of course, like I said, the sub-periods and the transiting planets are also going to have an effect. But this is basically how it's going to be colored, right? It's going to be colored with the effects of Mars.